My Aunt Crystal, when I tell you, she said she had a dream about fish. Oh my God. People start, oh shit. Did I have my period this? Let me get your mama. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our fingertip rings. Ooh, love them. I got them in, silver and gold. Just go on over there and check it out. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please remember to hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about Richard Pryor, prior convictions, and other life sentences, part 2. From what I could tell, Pops, that is his step-grandpappy, and Marie, that would be his paternal grandmother, didn't really talk for the majority of their marriage. If you ain't talking, then you can't argue. On the flip side, if you ain't talking, well, you don't really need to talk to screw. He swore that his real punishment was having to sleep with me after Marie threw him out of their room. I used to roll and toss all over the bed. Pop said I was the kickingest mother hunchy he'd ever met in his life. Couldn't sleep with either Marie or me. Bless his heart. Then there was Leroy Jr., my father. He was better known as Buck Carter, big and strong. He was a Golden Glove boxing champ as a teenager. Later, he traveled from Chicago to East St. Louis, working odd jobs until he got the urge to move on again. The girl he finally took up with, Gertrude Thomas, lived in the same neighborhood as Marie and Pops. Gertrude was a bookkeeper, not to mention trouble. I know that Buck loved her for real. He felt that deep kind of love that doesn't ever do a person good, that ends up kicking you in the ass, leaving you crying and tormented. Years later, Buck admitted that he was glad Gertrude had gone. He loved her so much. He said he probably would have killed her. Now, I don't want love like that, where you love me so much. Oh, God, I did have love like that. Oh, my God. What? Oh, gosh, y'all, give me 2 minutes. So one time, not once, but probably like 17 times, okay? So, I'm a Libra. It's nothing for us to make somebody fall in love with us. Like, it's nothing. And it's not that we're deliberately trying to do it. We're just being us. So let me just say, I've said prior times, that I can recall, several times people wanting to throw my body, okay? Because, to me, it was just something to do. But to them, they ain't never had a love like this before. Buck and Gertrude was involved, as were some of the other Carters, Bryants, Pryors, and Thomases in Peoria, in operating the whorehouses and bars that gave the Washington Street area its reputation. I know my mother didn't expect to get pregnant, nor did she want the baby that arrived December 1st, 1940. What is that? Is Richard Pryor a Sagittarius? Child, we finna talk about another Sagittarian. What I tell you about them? Reckless. They live dangerously. They go balls to the wall from the time they come out the vagina to the time they get in the ground. You hear me? Balls to the walls. They ain't scared of nothing. It was sexy though. Sexy. The circumstances surrounding my birth seemed obvious. My dad wanted the vagina. My mama had the vagina. 9 months later, my Uncle Franklin had a premonition about seeing a baby in a manger. And then I arrived. Oh my goodness, let me tell you something. I got this aunt, y'all. Oh my gosh, she just passed. Aunt Crystal, that's Mick's mama. Okay. Oh my god. Listen, whenever we were in family dinners or family situations, and my aunt would just randomly come up, ooh, I had a dream about fish the other day. Oh my god. I'd be like, oh, ooh, not the fish. Who is pregnant? Me and Mick looking at each other. We looking at honey. Swell. Is sister old enough? Sister ain't old enough to be pregnant. She better not be pregnant. He'd be like, oh, shit. Somebody be pregnant. Somebody be pregnant. That's the worst part. That my Aunt Crystal, when I tell you, she said she had a dream about fish. Oh my God. People start, oh shit. Did I have my period this month? Mick, get your mama. At least Gertrude didn't flush me down the toilet, as some did. My mother talked to me about how back in the day it was like a very unfortunate trend where babies were being thrown in the trash. So this is how Richard Pryor breaks down how his mammy came up with the name. His name is Richard Franklin Lennox Thomas Pryor. I didn't know that nigga had that many names. Richard, he don't know where the heck that came from. Franklin, that was his uncle's name. Lennox was his aunt's boyfriend name. Thomas was his mother's maiden name. Okay, and Pryor was his dad's last name. That's right. Gertrude, his mother, drank a lot. She'd been home for 6 months or so, and then one day she'd leave the house as if she were going to the store, say goodbye, and be gone for 6 months. My dad always seemed to know when Gertrude was about to take off, and it didn't bother him. But I just thought it was nice to see her whenever she was home. I didn't want to upset her by asking any questions, you know. Family is a mixed blessing. You're glad to have one, but it's also like receiving a life sentence for a crime you didn't commit. My people had a variety of last names: Carter, Bryant, Thomas, and Pryor. They were an industrious, busy group. My grandma and mother ran houses. My father and uncle helped out Pop's bar, the famous store. There was also a trucking business, a beauty parlor, and so on. Anything to stay afloat. My Aunt Dee and Uncle Dickie were prime examples. She came to Peoria from Mississippi and nabbed Dickie in his youth, married him, and then turned him out. Made him a pimp. I don't blame him, though. He didn't know nothing. Later, Dickie took over tending bar at the famous store when my dad went in the service. But it always seemed to me his main occupation, the one he preferred, was getting me in trouble. One time, my grandma called down to 317 North Washington. I picked up the phone. She wanted Dickie, but he squatted in the background and put words in my head as if he were a bad conscience. Tell her she ain't shit with her fat ass, he whispered and then laughed. Hey, Grandma, you ain't shit with your fat ass. She said, I'll be right there, son. And then a few minutes later, she showed up and whacked me with a belt. Made me holler and tell the truth. I promise I ain't never gonna call you a fat ass again, Grandma. Whack, womp, whack. Damn right you ain't. The house where I grew up at 317 North Washington had a strange, dark, big field. It stood amid whole blocks of such places. In between were various businesses, a trucking office across the street. Farther down was a parking lot of semi-trailers, a garage, and liquor stores. I've lived in neighborhoods with a lot of whorehouses. Not many candy stores or banks. Liquor stores and whorehouses. Niggas love to drink, they say. White people have banks and shiz like that. But you guys have to go 4 miles to get some liquor. A ninja can get liquor by just walking outside the door. My grandmother's house was at 313. Between hers and ours was China Bees, where the pretty whores lived. I wonder how much more money they got. How much you think pretty whores get opposed to the non-pretty whores? Like, are the pretty whores considered escorts? You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know. I mean, because that's what I think it is. Like, Marlo Hampton is like an escort. You can't call her a whore, not to her face. But when I tell you it's always a big, fine, black, juicy, thick-fingered, thick-foot and pushing a goddamn G-Wagon down here, I ain't playing. And it's always some escort bitch in the passenger seat, okay? Portia Williams know. My grandmother's house was at 313. Between hers and ours was China Bees, where the pretty whores lived. It says something about the whores who worked for my grandma. Didn't seem to matter either way, though. Both places did pretty good. As long as it's men that's going to buy it, it will always be a woman to sell it. One day in 1944, a strange person wearing a soldier's uniform walked into our home as if he owned the place. A little frightened by his sudden appearance, I watched him come inside and puzzled over what he was doing there. Like, who the fuck is he? I was used to strangers coming and going, but all of them had business to do. You know, getting a vagina. But this guy didn't seem to have anything on his mind except lingering. I watched him go upstairs. A few minutes later, he returned in a different set of clothes, and then I recognized him as my father. He'd come back from the army. Everyone celebrated, and I had the impression that for those few hours, none of the usual hustle and worry mattered. Daddy slipped back into his old job bartending at the famous store where my mom also waitressed in a tight white dress. I loved how it looked against her velvet tan skin. I thought it made Gertrude look very sexy. See, that right there got me saying, oh, this trouble, little baby. The famous store was where I hung out. It was a wild, colorful place for a kid to spend most of his time, but everybody in my family congregated there. The news you picked up there was better than what you got in the paper. I remember Uncle Dickie running in and informing everybody that his friend Shoeshine had murdered his 2 women. What Richard Pryor said was that one day his Uncle Dickie, had ran in there talking about how his friend had killed 2 women, okay? It happens all the time. I ain't trying to make light of it, but you ladies, I'm telling you, stop playing around with these crazy dudes. And who am I to even talk about that? I just told y'all the last video that I think 17 men in my entire life tried to kill me. No, I would say 13 men and maybe 4 women. The Uncle Dickie's friend had ended up murdering 2 women. Guess why, y'all? Because Uncle Dickie was hunting the 2 ladies, okay? His wife and his girlfriend, okay? He found out that when he wasn't around, the 2 ladies was hunting each other without him. What? There's a threesome going on and I ain't involved? I'm gonna kill you, bitch. As a comedian, I couldn't have asked for better material. My eyes and ears absorbed everything. People came in to exchange news, blow steam, and have their say. Everybody had an opinion about something, even if they didn't know shit about sports, politics, women, the war, nothing. He said the same thing I say. The people that talk the most know the least. Okay? I hate them. You always talking, brother. You don't know shit. I think what makes Richard Pryor so legendary is that he took his experience in life, his dark, tragic experiences in life, and gave it to the universe and was able to turn what was bad good. One night, some guy came in and cussed my grandma out. Buck, that would be his father, heard it, grabbed a pistol, and shot the man full of bullets. Emptied the magazine, blam, blam, blam. Scared the shit out of everybody in the place. But liquor makes you do strange things, like not die when you're supposed to. The man was pissed, and he managed to crawl across the floor and cut Buck on his leg. My father was crippled the rest of his life. What? How did that happen, Clarence? One thing I've learned from the Texan. Okay? You always get a ninja one to grow on. Another night, a Marine came in and raised hell, like it was in the movie, yelling, throwing shit, grabbing the women's titties and ass. Dickie and Buck grabbed him and started throwing punches. That Marine got pissed, turned around, and kicked both their asses. The three of them fought for a good half hour. But when it was all over, they laughed and drank together. Men are so stupid. Y'all just be having this energy inside of y'all where y'all want to fight. Like, boys play fight all the time. Don't play fight me, because if you knock one of my teeth out, my mama's going to get you. Daddy, what's going on? I asked after some similarly crazy incident in the bar. He turned around and smacked me. That's because his ass was drunk. Okay? Shut up. Don't ask me no questions. Child. The abuse that them children took, or that children took back in the day, the unnecessary abuse. And on Sundays, my grandmother made me go with her to the Morning Star Baptist Church. I didn't want to go, but you didn't fuck around with Marie. You just did what she said. But after a while, though, I drifted to the Salvation Army Church, where I got to beat the collection drum. And when it was somebody's birthday, I got to beat it a few extra times. Made me feel good. There was a lot of talk in my house about God. Help me, God. Please, God. Why are you doing this to me, God? God damn it. They were all horrible stories in which God always managed to do something spectacular at the last minute. Kind of like Superman. As a result, I learned early not to fuck with that guy named God. Me too. Private school do that to you. My mama sent me around there to the Holy Redeemer on New York and New Jersey Avenue. Oh my God. And the first class of the day was religion. Child, oh my goodness. Me and BFF knew far too much of the Bible. The only person scarier than God was my mother Gertrude. She was a trip. My dad understood this, but I guess he couldn't help himself. One time Buck hit Gertrude and she turned blue with anger and said, "Okay, motherfucker, don't hit me no more." But I guess Buck didn't care. Standing in his underwear and t-shirt, decked out like an inebriated bedroom heavyweight, he whomped her again. Big mistake. "Oh no, don't do that," she said, coiling like a rattlesnake about to strike. "Don't stand in front of me with your fucking undershorts on. Why make yourself so vulnerable?" My balls, my balls, my balls. She tried to bust my balls. Quick as lightning, she reached out with her finger claws and swiped at my father's dick. Ripped his nutsack off. I was just a kid when I saw this. My father ran down the street to 313 hollering, "Mama, mama, mama!" A grown man. I stood outside and saw him running up the block. His shorts were all red with blood. "What happened, Daddy?" "She cut my nuts off." "Who did?" "Your bitch-ass mother, Gertrude." Traumatized, I wandered back home. Mama stood in the doorway, looking satisfied with herself. She seemed happy to see me. "Hello, baby." She hugged me and then rubbed my head. Confused my ass just by being so nice to me. But she wasn't nice to my dad that night. Into his pimping right then and there. You have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this. The same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one.